Welcome back to another episode of MotoGP Mac, and today we're going to talk about the practice sessions that just happened for the Qatar Grand Prix this weekend. Now, before I get into it, here is how the second practice finished. Marc Marquez topped the pole from Augusto Fernandez, Pedro Acosta, Jack Miller, Brad Binder, Raul Fernandez, Enea Bastianini, Fabio Di Gianantonio, Alex Marquez, Johan Zarco, Joan Mir, Pecco Bagnaia, Marco Bezzecchi, Fabio Quartararo, Maverick Vinales, Luca Marini, Franco Morbidelli, Jorge Martin, Aleix Espargaro, Miguel Oliveira, Taka Nakagami, and Alex Rins. Now, while it is good to see Marc Marquez on top of the timesheets, it's not really as relevant as it would hopefully be. During the Moto 2 session, it did start to rain heavily in Qatar, and for that reason, the normal session that would separate Q1 and Q2 for qualifying on Saturday would not happen. Therefore, what was going to happen instead was a wet practice session of 45 minutes, and every rider had to do a minimum of 8 laps. They wanted to see what it was like in Qatar should it rain over the race weekend at crucial times. Now, no rain is predicted, but no rain was predicted this evening either. Looking at it, there was a mix up in the times. Mark did do a really good lap, but again, I will stress it did rain 13 minutes before the end of the session, so the track was not in the best of conditions. It wasn't consistently drying. It was fairly dry when Mark set that lap. And as you can see, kind of with Jorge Martin down in 18th place, 3 seconds off what Mark did. Pecco was 2 seconds off. You could see that the riders realistically were going out to do and understand what it's like in the conditions, but they weren't really pushing it. A few of them, others were. Augusto Fernandez definitely pushing it. Pedro Costa as well. He did do a really good session in the morning session. So did Jorge Martin. But again, look, they're still not close enough to really getting up there in anger. Now, what is going to happen tomorrow is that the practice session that should have happened this evening to decide Q1 and Q2 will happen, and then we will have qualifying, and then we will have the sprint. So busy day for everyone in the paddock tomorrow. Poor mechanics will be stressed out of their heads, no doubt. It did seem pretty good for Jack and Brad Binder, the KTM being very honest. It does look like it really does work in wet conditions. Raul Fernandez, again, good enough, but again, because of the way the weather conditions were, the fact that this was just a test actually for MotoGP and Dorna themselves, you could see that with the wet weather and the nature of Qatar being a pretty dirty circuit, you could see that a lot of riders were having vision problems, especially with the sand and water mixing together and then going onto the rider's visor was causing a lot of issues. All in all, look, motorbikes are back, racing is back. There's going to be a lot happening tomorrow. But it was definitely good to see Marc Marquez on top of the timesheets. But I would definitely love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the practice sessions that happened today? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.